Hello. Today I want to talk about self-image. Do you have a self-image? Of course you have. Everybody have their own self-image. So for me, I was not a very healthy child. I had a lot of health issues as a child. So I grew up all my sort of school years with not very good health. Health I wasn't very well, so I didn't have a very good self-image. So I was a normal kid, but I wasn't one of those kids who's chosen for sports teams or do very well in a sports class, PE class. So, those kids tend to be very popular when you're at school. So I wasn't one of those popular sporty kids. And I was always dreading PE lessons, especially swimming. I really hated swimming as a child. And so this went on when I was small until about maybe 15. Then from about 15, my health improved. So I joined the tennis club. Then as I got older, as an adult, I started taking ballet classes, adult ballet classes. So I started sort of joining in kind of sporty world. So I began to enjoy normal sort of a physical life, but I still didn't have a very good self-image in the physical sense. I didn't see myself as a sporty person, as a strong person. And that sort of continued. And that started to change when I first did my yoga class. Because I'm naturally physically bendy and flexible. And yoga involves lots of flexibility initially. So I thought, oh, this is quite easy. So first, it's really the first time I ever found anything physical easy. Up to the point, everything involving physical effort was hard for me. I had to work hard. So as I said, all the PEs, school, I really dreaded all of them. Even in tennis club, I wasn't very good. But I was quite happy to be in the sports club, but I wasn't very good. I was just doing it. And I was so, for example, when I started my elementary school, so primary school, I was so dreading the school PE lessons because in Japan, in the summer, all the PE swimming. And I was so dreading the swimming. So I begged my mother to defer my entry to the primary school. So I really was that non-sporty child. So when I started doing yoga, that's the first time I felt, oh, this is quite easy. But of course, the more I did yoga, I understood the flexibility is just the one aspect of yoga, and there's much more to it. And I didn't enjoy everything, but gradually I learned to appreciate all the elements of yoga. So sun salutations, inversions, upside down, backbends, lots of things I initially found very difficult. I learned them and I began to appreciate them all. So maybe a year or two in my yoga journey, I encountered headstand, and that was my first quite a big challenge in yoga. And my old lack of confidence, physical confidence, nearly held me back trying. But in one of the class, we did very easy head balance, and that kind of helped me to gain the confidence to try. So I tried, and actually it didn't take very long for me to go up on headstand against the wall. It was easier than I was expecting. So going against headstand against the wall, I learned quite quickly, but coming away from the wall took me a long time because it really requires lots of courage to come away from the wall in the middle of the room. So I fell a few times. And eventually, when I could do it, I could go up without the walls in the middle of the room. But still, I couldn't stay for very long, and I wasn't very confident. So I asked one of my yoga buddy, "You have any tip? Can you help me?" And he said just one word. He said, "Daily practice." So that's 2 words, daily practice. So since I practice every day, just the headstand every day, and quite quickly, really within a few months, maybe about a month, I was getting quite confident on my headstand. So really persistence and the practice pays. And in those days, I was doing yoga every week with somebody called John Scott. You may know the name. He's really one of the most well-known Western Ashtanga yoga teacher. He's from New Zealand. And in those days, he wasn't that big. Ashtanga world wasn't that big. So very easy to access to these amazing teachers. So I used to practice with John every week to his class. Then one day in the class, when I was doing headstand, John stopped everybody in the class and said, "Everybody look at Atsuko's headstand for inspiration." And can you imagine how I felt? It really boosted my confidence. So headstand is my first milestone. Then after I achieved something, after I became comfortable in headstand, then it opens up the next challenge. So then I worked on backbend. Then I worked on handstand. So there's always next level, next step, new things to challenge. And that's really great thing about yoga, because you keep going. And every time you achieve some milestone, you rewrite your self-image. So when I was a child, when I wasn't very well, my self-image was somebody who really cannot do any physical thing. Actually, I was sick child, ill child. Then I became somebody who's leading normal life, but not sporty at all. Then I became somebody who does yoga every week. Then I became somebody who can easily stand on the head. So every time you achieve something, you rewrite your own self-image. You see yourself differently. And although the difference between somebody who's leading a normal life and who can confidently do headstand may not sound very big, but really internally it's very different. So it doesn't have to be anything so dramatic. But for example, if you always said, "Oh, I can't touch my toes," I hear a lot, "I can't touch my toes. I can't touch my toes." So that's how you see yourself. But after a few months of yoga, you can now comfortably touch your toes. Then you see yourself somebody who can comfortably touch your toes. So there is a difference in the energy, how you see yourself. I cannot touch my toes. Or I'm somebody who can comfortably touch my toes. Can you feel the difference? So if you're somebody who cannot do down dog and become somebody who can easily do sun salutation, then you see yourself differently. So you have become somebody who couldn't do down dog to somebody who can easily do sun salutation. So then there's a difference in energy, difference in how you see yourself. So every time you do something new and every time you conquer some little challenge, you hit milestone. So now I can do shoulder stand. You can do back bend. So you move on and rewrite your self-image. So yoga is not the only thing, of course, which contribute to your self-image. But by practicing consistently and embracing new challenges, you always constantly rewriting the story you tell yourself. And I think it's a really amazing thing about yoga. So about a year ago, I achieved my first drop back all the way to the floor. So it's drop back. It is you stand and you go up, up, up. Then you go all the way to the floor, going to back bend. And any back bend was very difficult for me to start with. So to get to that stage, to me, was enormous achievement. So I'm not telling you this to boast, because there are loads of millions of great yogis who can do spectacular back bend and arm balance. But I'm telling you this in the context of somebody who didn't have very physical confidence, to the point where I can do drop back and a strong arm balance. So every time I achieve something, I rewrite and I see myself differently. And that's the great thing about yoga. And another great thing about yoga is all the step, all the way through, none of that was hard. Okay, I worked hard, but it didn't feel hard because I was enjoying every step of the way. So consistently practicing, and on the happy journey, I kept rewriting the self-image, and now I see myself differently. And that's a great thing about yoga. Okay, so this is what I want to talk today. Thank you for listening.